Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And wow, we got an absolutely wonderful show coming your way today. And I tell you, I'm excited, always excited. But we got a guest on the show that's absolutely wonderful. And, you know, we're going to talk about movies, Hollywood. We're going to talk about a lot of great things, but we're also going to talk about this great man and all the great things that he's doing in the filmmaking industry. And I can speak about that a little bit. Uh, uh, it's kind of hard to compete with Hollywood, especially if you're not in California and this and that. When it comes to making movies and stuff, I had my little stunt where I thought I was going to be one of these big stars, and movie makers, and all that. And I gave it a run, but you got to be cut out. You got to be cut in a different way in order to be able to be successful in that industry. And it's a tough industry, but a lot of people can do it. I believe that if you set your mind to it, you can do anything you want to. So before I get started, I always have to bring in my executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm a person who I love all different types of movies. I love filmmakers. I love how creative and unique they are in their vision and goals of what they want to create. I mean, it takes a lot of planning and thought on how you want to present your story. So we have an amazing guest today. He's kind of break down, his background, how he got into the business, and about filmmaking, most importantly, independent filmmaking. I mean, he does so many things, but we'll learn a little bit more about him when I introduce him to the show.
Wow. So wherever you're watching this at, was he watching on E360 television, Transverse TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, over 35 other live streaming mechanisms? If you want to be part of the show, all you do is go to the platform that you're on. Ask any question that you might have, and I promise we'll get you an answer. Michelle, can you do the honors by introducing the title of the show, purpose of the show, and introduce this great guest?
Oh, yes, most definitely. So the title of the show is called Making Films Outside of Hollywood. And we're having a discussion with independent filmmaker, writer, producer, and director Victor Joyner Jr. And we're going to talk about his background, his journey being part of the entertainment business, and the challenges and the rewards he has at being an independent filmmaker that he faces, and all the upcoming projects he has worked on, the projects that he's going to work on, and other projects that he has already worked on. So we're going to learn a little bit about this guest today. So let's talk a little bit about him. Victor Joyner Jr. began his film career as an actor, featuring series such as NC Wanted. However, Victor's true talents will be discovered behind the lens. Producer and director Philemon Ahedawa, I hope I pronounced his name right, saw Victor's gift in 2006, while he was playing a supporting role in his international film Congo Boy in the City. Victor would be promoted to co-director, which was only the beginning for him. He went on to freelance for more than 10 independent films and plays, fulfilling positions such as grip, script, supervisor, casting director, writer, director, and producer. In 2008, Victorious Films LLC was launched, and by 2009, Joyner had completed his first short film, Hooped. So we're going to learn a little bit more about this guest and his path and his journey to be the filmmaker that he is today. So please welcome to the show, Victor Joyner Jr.
How you
Thank
doing,
you.
Vic?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing today?
Man, we're so happy to have you on and learn about this independent filmmaking thing. And glad that you're here with us today. Why don't you tell the audience where you at? Well, I mean, which state or which country or which?
I'm in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. You know what I'm saying? Cackalacky, the Tar Heels. Duke Blue Devils. We're known for basketball and things like that. But we do a lot of film here. Actually, there's a lot of film in North Carolina people don't even know about.
Oh yeah. Can you tell our viewers and listeners where you grew up? A little bit about you. You got the stage for about 2.5 minutes.
Well, I grew up in a small town. I wouldn't even call it a small town because it has its own county called Wilson County, North Carolina. It'd be a rural area. It's right off 95 and 301. Grew up, my mother preached and stuff like that. So I grew up around a bunch of sports. But also I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, so I grew up in the 80s, 90s, when there's a lot of, drug dealing and types of things going on. And the town I'm from was a tobacco town. And actually, the star Miguel A. Nunez Jr. is from that town. He tells a story about the tobacco and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And I did tobacco for like 1 week. And I wasn't cut out for it. I had a football. I did football. I had football practice, so I didn't go. So back then, I look at stuff. I seen people on TV. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like I seen. To me, it was like I should live in a dream. Like when I was dreaming, I thought I was woke. When I woke, I thought I was dreaming. But back then, I didn't know what any of that was. I was just a child. You know what I'm saying? And so even coming up, I was real quiet and I just watched people. And then, I didn't know me when I was a kid. They would say, "No, yeah, I remember he was that quiet dude from on the bus. He didn't really, didn't talk too much. I talked when it was necessary, but I watched people. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's where like it helped me develop some of my stories. So because I sat and I watched people and I watched how people act, how they react to things like that. And just coming up through college, I went to East Carolina University, in Greenville, North Carolina. The Pirates, go Pirates. And a lot of my friends, they try to get me to model, and I was like, I'm not really into model. And somebody was like, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing entertainment. And the funniest thing was, I'm not a person that tell fibs, but I was joking with somebody at one of the jobs I was working because I was getting moved to New York. I said, I'm going to New York, I'm going to do films and things like that. And at the time, I really wasn't going to New York to do films, but I was just trying to find something elaborate to say at that moment. And then to kind of find out when I moved back to North Carolina, basically I got into it. A friend of mine who is actually a star now as well, BJ Britt, is also from Wilson, North Carolina. We had conversations and things like that. And I had a friend. I wanted to start a magazine first. So I had a friend who was doing some things. I was like, if I get a magazine, maybe it'll help him out. You know what I'm saying? But then I started learning how to act, learning how to do things like that. I kind of fell in love with it. And then I was on sets and people were trying to tell me, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Can you help me write this? Can you help me do it? It just, I started getting immersed with the crew side of it. So I stopped being an actor and started doing films. And I had late Bishop, well, Dr. Bishop Miles Farrington. He passed away on COVID. BT was having a short contest. He was like, yo, V, why don't you do a little short? And within 2 days, I wrote a short, shot it in 2 days, edited and things like that. And God blessed me with a forward thinking mentality. Like I was selling downloads of movies before they even started selling downloads of movies. And I sell my short film hooped all over the world, and that's before Apple anybody was really doing it. So that's basically the grass of everything started with film. I had a passion. And then honestly, I started the company. Well, I would get into that later, but that's basically how I came up. You know what I'm saying? I was raised in a rural town with just a big imagination.
Wow. So Victor, how did your family, friends, and community inspire you to just reach out and go for your dreams? And, even though we have a lot of naysayers out there that they don't believe in us, but we have to believe in ourselves. So how did family, friends, and the community inspire you to push forward and go get it? Go get your dream. Go find it.
Well, I've always been as what you call a underdog, you know, because I was quiet. I was always around the cool people. I was always playing sports. I was all American, not all American, but all state in track. But in my neighborhood, like the older kids were good at sports, so I was kind of always in their shadow. So I always had to find something that made me stand out. That's outside of basketball, football, and things like that. That I could do on my own. And my mother always told me, she said, well, there's something other than basketball and football. There's something other than this, something other than that. So that inspired me to be able to look at things and look for something different, what everybody's doing. There's a lot of my cousins and people they do on rap or they were doing other things, what I'm saying, that I wasn't really down for, you know. So my family inspired me just to have that will not to quit, what I'm saying, because this business is easy to quit because it gets hard. So there's things that my mother and my father, especially my mother, sold into me as a child, to never quit, really, really pushed me to do this, keep doing this, even when it gets hard.
So you chose your career, entertainment. which is, I mean, I dipped and dabbed in the entertainment business for a few years, and it's tough. And we talk about, in your case, filmmaking outside of Hollywood or LA or New York. So it become even tougher. What inspired you to get in the entertainment field, knowing how rough it was?
Well, as they would say, I didn't chose the game chose me. I had no interest in honestly, I literally had no interest in film. Film was never. I was an athlete. It's nowhere on my radar. I mean, I was a quarter of an inch from making the Olympics when I was in college. You know what I'm saying? So it was like it wasn't even on my radar. Even when I graduated from college, it wasn't on my radar. But honestly, what happened was, and it was God. I'm gonna just put out there, it was God. And I remember my pastor preaching, Bishop Roselle Neal preached that, if God tell you to do something, do it. Don't ask no questions, just do it. Like Moses, just do it. And I was laying in my townhouse at the moment, and I was looking at a different world. I was half asleep, and God was like, "Start a film company." I was like, "I'm tripping. He say that I'm asleep." So he started a film company. I was like, "Okay, you know what I'm saying? God, I don't know what you're doing, but hey, I'm gonna go with it." And I did, and got all my paperwork and everything officially done. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to be. A lot of people do stuff not necessarily officially. I gotta have my LLCs and paperwork, everything situated. So basically, what inspired me to do was God told me to do it.
So, and when you got that in mind, like, okay, God, I'm gonna honor and I'm gonna do whatever you. Was there nervousness, or was there any? You just got up and just went and did it.
Well, it wasn't even nervous to me because I'm the type of person. People say I'm a jack of all trades. I'm a prodigy of a lot of things. I just do stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that is me to do something new is just like picking up anything, just doing it. And so it wasn't a nervousness because, as one of the other pastors that my pastor say, you know what I'm saying, if you don't know no better, you don't do no better. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know what I couldn't do. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know the regulations and all the stipulations that you're supposed to have. So I just did it. Who could stop me? Because can't nobody stop me but me. So I was like, okay, well, I get the camera. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna write this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna direct this. Can't nobody stop me because nobody's telling me what to do. Nobody's telling me what I can't do. And the only thing that kind of slowed my progression is when I got around people, and I'm blessed to have people in my circle who care about me, who are in the industry. But you start listening to the people who in Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? And it started slowing me down because like, man, got this big budget, got this, and I'm like, and even the film that I just shot, I was like, wait a minute, time out. Let's go back, get that fresh fire. Because back then you didn't care. You was just gonna shoot. If people like it, they like it. They didn't like it, they didn't like it. If I didn't like it, I didn't put it out. You know what I'm saying? So once I did that, it's like, okay, nobody can stop you. I got my own equipment. Who gonna stop me? I edit my own stuff. So what's the problem?
Wow, we're gonna take a station break right now, but man, I'm enjoying this conversation. We're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back and we really gonna dive off into Victor and some of the films that he have done and that's currently working on. And I tell you, if you got any questions for this young man, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're on. Ask him any question that you might have. I promise you, I'll get it on the screen. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and that, I tell you, that first segment, getting to know Victor a little bit, it's just absolutely wonderful. And we can really dive off into the business. We call it the business side of it,
Yeah, get into the business.
the business side of it. And I tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching on, this is a great young man. If you want to know anything about the film industry, all you have to do is go to the comments and ask. I see that we got an audience all over the world. Michelle, you see the numbers that I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the numbers are looking good. And so just go to the platform, whatever you're on, and ask them any questions. One question, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Michelle. What challenges did you experience when you first became part of the business?
Well, always the challenge is the finance. Finance is always the challenge. Coming up with the money, you get the ideas, you get the scripts and everything together, but it's always the financing that's the hardest challenge with any filmmaker, especially independent filmmaker. So with me, like everything I've done basically been financed by me, or by my family, somebody like my wife or things like that. Um, so that's the hardest issue. Other than that, because I have good relationships with people, good relationship with actors and things like that, they'll work with me, and people know I'm a person. When I do something, when I say I'm gonna do it, it's gonna happen. So when I say, hey, we shooting over here this day, it's not gonna be sloppy. Everything gonna be in order. Let's go.
Were you, I know, I'm reading your bio, right? I know that, you started off in acting, but they saw something in you to kind of segue you into like the behind the scenes, the creativity part. Did you ever see yourself doing that? And if so, were you nervous? Or is this something that excited you? Like, this is something I'm born to do.
Well, the only time I ever get nervous when I was starting out was auditioning when I was acting. Like
Mhm,
when the lights came on, I'm a lights person, so when the
mhm,
lights came on, it was time to go. No nervousness, no nothing. But auditioning, I was nervous. That was the only nervous part. And then when I flipped it out the side, um, I don't know what it is. It's like a switch to get switched over. I normally have this, bubbly, funny personality all the time,
mhm,
and it's like my boy. Even he came out. He retired from the Navy, and we was doing a concept trailer with Miguel Nunes Jr. and he was helping me out. He said, "Dude, I didn't realize you was like this." He said, "As soon as we got on set, it's like you flipped the switch. You was a different person. Like he's like
mhm,
you didn't scream at me, not at the screen, but I was real firm with him about something. He's like, I was trying to help give you your phone, but you was like, you was locked in. He said you
mhm.
was a totally different person. And even when I did in the moment where it really solidified for me, this is what the gift that God's given me is when I did the Apocalypse play. I wrote it, the guys performing, and I was directing the play part of it.
Mhm.
And that experience was, oh my God. He went off the script. He had some dances and some other stuff that we didn't practice, we didn't have no rehearsals on. But it was almost like the movie Ray when the guy was like, turn the lights down. All right, dude. It's it's something to switch in me. And I just
Mhm.
started doing stuff automatic, like on autopilot. You know what I'm saying? No nervousness. And we had people in the audience. It was live because it was a play. So I
Mhm.
was freestyling in a play. And so there was no nervousness there. And it was like, okay, this is where you belong because God was like, because you're at ease here. You know,
Mhm.
when I get on set, what I'm saying, I'm not nervous. When I know everybody's there and everybody showed up. It's nervous for
Mhm.
everybody to show up because like I want to make sure everybody show up. If they don't show up, we're gonna be late. And I don't like being late. But once everything's going, just like a mode just shifts over and I just go. There's no nervousness because it's like I resting in the peace of God. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, boom, I'm here, showtime, let's go.
Wow. So come talk to us about how did Victorious Films LLC get started? And what was your vision and your goal for this company that you created?
So as a statement, people here's the thing. People always think I started Victorious Films and called it Victorious Films because my name is Victor.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't it. I didn't think nothing of it. That was not what I thought of.
Mhm.
Victorious Films, because in all my films, that's mine. I can't speak of
Mhm.
other films I work on, other people projects I work on with other people, but I always wanted to put something forward that put a seed in somebody's heart. You know, somebody said, my boy says like this, you know, it's like I create my own genre because it's faith-based films, but it's like more urban faith-based films that's more based on reality. You know,
Mhm.
it's not hitting your head with the Bible. It's really showing you some things that people really go through. Like I've had pastors read or tell me about some of the stories I'm working on. They're like,
Mhm.
"Wow, you're telling my story." You know, and a lot of people I talk to, even the film I have now, it's like, "Yo, that's my story." You know, so that's the type of films and things that I wanted to do. I didn't want to just entertain people. I wanted to
Gotcha.
leave them with something, you know, that will cause them to be victorious. You know, and every company that I have that's mine, you know, it's called Victorious Dis, you know, Victorious Distribution and Victorious Motivation. You know, that's just my thing. And actually, where it all, thank you, God. Where this came from, actually, as a child, I had a dream. I used to have this recurring dream over and
Mhm.
over again. I would go upstairs. I had a briefcase. I got up the elevator. I looked at the thing that says Victorious up there. I get up the elevator and I'll get in front of a boardroom for a bunch of people. I'll put my suitcase down. I would sit down, and that's when the dream stopped every time. And I had this
Mhm.
dream like for years and years and years and years. I guess I had a dream so much that I don't even have to have it anymore. It became a vision. You know, and so it started as a child. So, and Victoria's Film, like I said, God told me to do it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, well, let's do it. You know, there was no hesitation. There was no like, let me find out how to fill out paperwork. Okay, fill the paperwork out right. Send it in. Let's go.
So, filmmaking, I mean, I've always been fascinated by films. I wish I took a film class in college because I definitely would something I would have been interested in. But there is such a creative process in filmmaking. I think some people think it's easy, especially being an independent filmmaker. But there is a difference. So this is like a two-part question. One, can you explain to the audience what is the difference between an independent filmmaker and a filmmaker, let's say within the Hollywood, the big movie studio, so to speak? What's the difference? And also, what is your creative process being an independent filmmaker?
Basically, being a filmmaker, I'm gonna do it however I'm gonna do it. You know, I don't have there's not all these rules that I have to follow or, you know, because I've worked with people who went to school. I didn't go to school for film. So I work with people who went to school and I work with people who didn't go to school. And sometimes the people who went to school, it's like kind of rigid. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, bro, we're not doing it like that. You know, bro, I need this shot right here. This is how we're shooting. If you have to stand on top of the bench right there, shoot it. Shoot it from the top of the bench. You know, just shoot it. So as an independent filmmaker, one, you don't have the money that studios have. So you can't mess around. You gotta hit it. We could joke, have fun, but you know, I don't have 30 days to shoot a film. I may have 10, 15. You know, I'm trying to get you in and out. If I have a celebrity, I'm trying to get them in and out. I don't have days to kind of play around. You know what I'm saying? So in a filmmaker, you have to have things planned out. You know what I'm saying? Have the things ordered. You have to be about your business. Not saying Hollywood's not about their business, but studios, you know, they got $100 million to do something. You know what I'm saying? So they have 30 days, 2 or 3 months, a year. You know, they do reshoots and all types of things like that. You know, as an independent filmmaker, it's like, you know, I need to get this done right the first time. You know, I'm not shooting 15,000 angles. I'm not shooting 15,000 takes. You know, so I know I have to get it in. And when I find my locations, my creative process is I always tell people don't write like me because it's like the scripts and things kind of download in my head. You know, when I first started, it was like playing chess in my head. It's almost like talking to yourself. You know, you got all these characters and you're trying to go back and forth. And when I first started, I didn't necessarily know how the ending was going to be, but it always worked out well. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of, okay, this, that, this, that. I kind of followed basically freestyle. I was improvising the whole thing in my head. So when I wrote it down, it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to happen at the end. Bam. Then I learned beginning, middle, end. You know, then so I started putting more format into it. But creative process for me, I mean, because I'm a writer as well, so I mean, I write all my stuff. So it just kind of downloads in my head, and I just write it down. You know, I type it out. You know, I don't really think about it. It just kind of downloads. And for independent studio, you know, independent filmmaker, I don't have a studio or network, somebody breathing down my throat wanting me to change this or push a certain narrative that they want, you know what I'm saying? Or push a certain thought that they want, which is, that's their thing, but for me, it allows me the freedom to express myself or express the things that I feel need to be expressed. If I feel like this particular situation going on in society needs to be talked about, I can write a story about it. I could show it, you know. And the good thing about these days is things like Tubi and different platforms that allow independent filmmakers to get the things out. I can actually get that story out without having to worry about, okay, being blocked by the distributor, because this Hollywood movie's coming out or this and that is coming out. So hope that answers your question. I get kind of excited about it.
No. We excited about it as well. Can you explain that extremely well? Hey, but Victor, tell our viewers and listeners, it takes a certain type of skill set. It takes a certain type of mindset. It takes a certain type of vision, understanding, and focus to come up with scripts, to write movies, to write. I'm talking about, we had to write it down first. We had to see it here first. How did you develop? How do you develop those intangibles? Because that's creative thinking is what I call it. But a lot of people they can't think that way, and therefore they don't use their imagination.
Well, my call him Big Bro, G. Jason Smith. He said everybody has a genius. And saying God gives everybody a genius. And he said, my genius, one of my geniuses is I can write and I do it fast. He could give me 2 sentences and I write a whole movie. So I tell people, there's only one me. You know what I'm saying? People always try to compare me to Tyler Perry. Like, no, there's only one. I'm me. There's only one me because my thought process, like I said, kind of download. I don't really think about it. It just download in my head. But if you're going to be a writer, you need to focus. I did have to learn format. I did have to learn things like that, to be the best I could be. He told me, hey, you're a monster at this writing thing, but I had to read like a book, screenwriting book. I forgot the name of the book. But I had to read the book to, okay, boom, 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 to enhance what I was already doing. LeBron James is a hoop, but he had to get a trainer. He was the Olajuwon to learn how to post up like he should. So if you want to become a filmmaker or get into the industry like that or independent, you do have to have, be persistently persistent. Don't take no for an answer because you're gonna hear a lot of no's. And a lot of people just not gonna say nothing. It's a no, they're not gonna say nothing. So you have to have in your head. I read a book, The Blueprint to Guerrilla Filmmaker. It says if you're saying you're a filmmaker, you're a filmmaker. Don't people say I'm a filmmaker. Don't say, I work at the bank. No, I'm a filmmaker. I just happen to work at the bank. You got to have the mentality, this is what I am. This is what I'm going to do. And so during that times when times get hard and you can't find the money for your films and nobody's trying to help you and people not showing up, you guys say, hey, I'm a filmmaker. This is what I've been trying to do. This is what I'm doing. And you got to look at the greats. I mean, George Lucas and all these other people who do all these big major films, their films that they've tried to try to get done. It took like 10, 15 years. I think it was Red Tails he was trying to get done, and it took like 20, 30. There's Glimmer, Gemini Man with Will Smith. It took forever. That film was written like 20 years ago. So in my mind, I think if it takes Hollywood that long to get a film done, why is it gonna take me 2 minutes to get it done? Nobody knows.
Hold that thought. We're gonna take a station break. But you on to something right here. I want to pick it up right there when we get back, and I tell you, I hope you all are enjoying it just like me. This is a great guy, and he's educating us because vision, understanding, and focus is key to everything that we do, especially when it comes to film making, when it comes to life, when it comes to mindset, and when it comes to being able to be successful at anything you do. I tell you. So Victor is on to something. We're going to take a station break, but when we come back, we're going to pick it up. It's your life, and we'll be back shortly after the break.
really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and movie producer, director, filmmaker. And you can throw a lot of other adjectives on that one. My guest here, Victor Joyner Jr. He's breaking it down, and you can see the passion in him as he explained how it's done. And just like you said, it's not always easy. You got to have a passion for what you do. If you ain't got a passion for what you do, why are you doing it? Ask yourself that. If you ain't got a passion for what you are doing, you probably shouldn't be doing it. But if you got a passion for making films, or you got a passion for doing whatever you're doing, be the best at what you do, regardless of what anybody might say. You can be the best at what you do. Passion. Vic, I want to pick it up with that. Yeah, you was explaining the process, and you was also explaining what it take, and you were telling us right before the break about everybody got a genius inside them. Mm-hmm. Can you pick that up? Because you know what, that's a true statement. But I believe that everybody must discover the genius inside them, because ain't nobody just gonna come up and tell you, your genius is.
People will see it. The thing about your genius, people will see it before you see it, and depends on who the person. Sometimes people will use it against you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I need you to go. You can work on cars. Just your genius. Hey man, my car broke down, man. Come on here, check this out for me. You mind checking this out? When you were fixing her car, this because it's your genius. You're not really. You may work at the bank or something. You know what I'm saying? But that's your genius of what you're doing. A lot of our society, we're crowded to what they say we should do. That's how people don't find their genius. A lot of the creativity and things they took out of schools, the vocational stuff they took out of schools, people don't find their genius because that's where you found your genius in school. People who play sports, how you found out you were good? Okay, you played in the playground. But how'd you really find you good? When you went to school to PE and you were playing hooping against everybody. You were trying to find out who was the best. That's when nowadays kids don't do that. They just kind of mess around and PE. But when I was coming up, we were trying to dunk on each other. We were going at it to see who was the best. And that's how you know. And I remember seeing this son TJ said, you know, since sometimes it's the things that bother you that shows your genius. If talking to people, like for example, another one of my geniuses is motivating people and talking to people. But I've always been that way since I was a child. People always come to me asking questions. Like people I don't even know come to talk to me. I'm like, oh, I don't know you, but okay, you know. And I've always had a word. One of my friends in college said, "You could speak to somebody on their deathbed, tell them they died, and they'll be smiling." You know, because that's a genius. So people, when you're doing things or you have a passion for something, a lot of times that's your genius. You know, my pastor says God give you your $1 million gift inside of you, but you have to use it. You can't be scared. You got to step out on faith and just do it. You know, yeah, you may fall. You know what I'm saying? But that fall allows you the strength to get back up because you don't know the strength to get back up if you don't fall. You know, you can't. A true champion, you know, a true champion when they lose. Spence, we're gonna see what's up with him because he took an L. Is he gonna come back or is he gonna stay on the ground? I mean, shouts out to him. I'm not showing no shots. Profit one. I'm not. I respect what you do. I don't box, but I'm just using you as a metaphor.
But you know, you don't box, but you saw that fight, right? You know, it's yeah. He might want to stay down there for a little bit. I mean, just to recover.
But now
Crawford wasn't playing.
We're gonna see what he's made of. Can you get knocked down like that and get back up? You know, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Wilder didn't fought him 3 times, so he didn't show. He'll get back up and fight you. Now he may lose, but he'll get back up and fight you. You know, but that's what you have to have, you know.
And that genius and all seriousness, we all have to discover that, and we have to let. And you was right. People see it before we do, and they try to encourage us without telling us, because they want you to discover that as well. You know, so well put, my friend. Well put. I want to talk about your filmmaking. And I want to show, before we get off into that, I want to show this little short clip of one of your films, and then I want you to come back and talk about it. Okay. So here we go.
Family means everything to me. Man, you just got here and already need something?
Yeah, and?
But with this badge, I took an oath.
If it ain't the choir boy himself.
Nah. You're about to be choir boy because you're about to start singing. Captain, you won't regret this. What happens when the turmoils are so bad?
What's going on, baby? Come off that money. Come off that money. Remember me?
You want me to stand down now?
You're off the case.
You can't do that.
I made my decision.
But Captain, to be honest, I'm not doing too good.
But look, we gotta take Wings out, man, if you want that spot back.
I don't know if you've been watching the news, but you seem to be the only cop in America that's living by this oath.
Put down the gun. That's what I thought.
That's because they closed the case.
That I have to choose.
While you're thinking about what you should do, remember all those times Jay had your back in the past.
So what are we going to do? 22. Oh, you gonna play dumb? I'm tired of this.
Oh man, you're gonna tell us about that one, Vic. The floor is yours.
Well, I don't want to give away too much. How can I say? Well, I came up with a story. Technically, it's a remake of a story.
First of all, tell them what the title of that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. The title is A Brother's Turmoil. It's now on Tubi. It's a story of a cop that he's a by the book cop. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is he has a traumatic situation that happens, and he's trying to find out who did it. You know, and he's trying to do the right thing, but his family and his friends are trying to push him to do the wrong thing. So he's turmoiling between doing right and wrong, you know what I'm saying, by the book, not by the book, you know. And the conclusion of it is basically his choice, the choice he makes, you know, and that's something that we face every day, you know what I'm saying. Somebody walk up and slap you, what you gonna do? You can slap them back, or you can just turn the cheek, you know. If somebody did something to you or one of your family members, are you gonna go out and get revenge, or you gonna let the police handle it? You know, so there's things that we face even at our jobs and things like that. So that's what I wanted to portray to people in this project. You know, that yes, there's always a point to where you have to make a decision. You know, right or wrong. And hopefully he chose the right thing. You know, you never know.
Yeah. So, how do you go about? You do this all the time. How do you go about with the thought in your mind, with the vision in your mind, the players? I'm talking about the actors, and because I do short plays, I do short films, and all that myself. But you have to have the right players, the right people to be able to play the part. You cannot just pick anybody to do those things. How you go about selecting your actors and actresses?
Well, it depends. It depends on the role. You know, some people that I pick to act, I may know them, I may have worked with them before. A lot of times in business, you work with people that you worked with before. You know, and most of them do a pretty well job. You know, what they've done. And I mean, to that extent, I'm like Tyler Perry. You know what I'm saying? The people who rock with me, who've been with me from day one, they're in all my stuff in some capacity. Because I told them from the beginning, as I rise, I'm not rising by myself. Excuse me. Other people I audition. You know what I'm saying? I have video audition, what they call self-tape auditions now. So I have an audition for roles like maybe I don't have the idea of the character for. You know, also as an independent filmmaker, you have to, and they do this for studio films as well, but I have to look at, okay, what does this person have? Does this person have a following? Does this person not have a following? What do they add? What do the person also add to the film as well? And actually some of the best acting in the movie was done by people they're not even actors. They're just people I knew. But when the part that I had them play, that was their real, like basically their real life. You know what I'm saying? One guy was getting questioned by the police. Well, I know this dude since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? He's been in some trouble with the law. You know, so he understood when the cops questioned him, that was all natural. The attitude he gave him was all natural. You know, and one thing to all the actors out there, people who want to become actors, acting is really just being yourself. That whatever character it is, you're just playing you. You know, and when people try to act, I've seen actors, you know, try to act. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, stop acting, just act natural. And then you could put them in scene with somebody who's not an actor, and you have an actor, and sometimes they'll struggle because it's like, oh man, you know, I'm trying to act, and this person not acting, he's just being them. Well, that's what you do, be yourself. That makes it easier. So that's basically how I go about casting. You know what I'm saying? I have to match the people, what they look like, the height. I mean, there's a lot of schematics. When I deal with actors as well on my other side of things that I do, it's like you might not get the role because you're too tall, too short. And there's a lot of factors that go with it as well. But when I call people, and it's about commitment. You know, the star of my movie, I just do was down. Somebody else was in the movie wanting to be the star. And he asked me, why you pick this guy to the, well, when I asked that dude to go from Charlotte to the beach, to reshoot a scene after we done shot the whole movie, that a scene that I just came up with in my head, he was like, let's do it. It's like 4 or 5 hours for him, a 4 or 5 hour drive on Father's Day weekend for him.
Hey, hold that thought. We got to take a station break, man. But man, I'm loving this, man. I am loving this discussion with you. And I tell you, I hope you guys are learning a whole lot and loving this as well. We're going to take a station break. We're going to come back with some more Victor. Yes, your life. We'll be back shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you.
Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and my very, very, very special guest, Victor Joyner Jr. I'm telling you, having so much fun because I know the game, but he's in the game. I'm not in the game like that anymore. He's in the game, and that's and the way he is breaking this down to you, that's true. And for you inspiring actors and actresses out there, you can do it. For you inspiring filmmakers out there, you can do it. Just take the example from Victor. He's doing it. And if you got any questions, I mean, he's going to tell you how you can locate him in a few minutes. But before we even get started, I still have to mention my book. I just released this a few weeks back. #1 release, #1 bestseller, A Black Man Point of View, Mind, Body, and Soul. Wow. And this book, God came to me and just gave me the vision of identifying things that I thought was so important, not just to a Black man, but to anyone that might misunderstand us and might not understand how we think, why we think this way, and what we have done to create a roadmap where we learn to forget about the past, not forget about it, but not dwell on it, but dwell on today. And it's all about love, respect, happiness, and learning to forgive. So that it doesn't matter which color, black, white, pink, gold, or purple. We all have to live on this earth together. A Black Man Point of View, Mind, Body, and Soul. Give you an idea and roadmap on how we can do that. I want to get back there because the last conversation was so great, man. I mean, I'm talking about the one that we just had. It was so wonderful, man. And the way that you break it down as it comes to identifying folks that are there. And you mentioned something that I believe is so true. A person, at least in my films and my stuff that we do, I want them to be who they are, right? Now, they have a role that they have to play based on what the script is. But if you can't present you in that role as a reality, because that's what that is, you might not be a good fit. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's two things I'll say about that. One of my cousins in film. That joke has been funny since we were kids. And I told him, I said, yo, don't worry about it. Just be you. Do you. Just be fine. And he was himself. And it was funny. Like, okay, And another thing that I tell people is if you want to look at industry standard, look at Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson been playing Jack Nicholson for 30, 40 years. He's been the same person. He's been playing himself. Even when he played the Joker, he might have been slightly different, but he's been playing the same character forever. Will Smith plays Will Smith. I mean, that's their characters, their personality, and that what makes people relate to it. I know you have method actors who get into the character, and that's dangerous. We've seen that how dangerous that could be, but those are two different styles of acting. You know what I'm saying? People who are themselves, people who totally immerse in the character. So like I said, when I pick people, when I do stuff, just be who you are. You're the star. You're the shine. The story is the star of everything, but you shine. You become a light in the star when you be yourself.
When you be yourself. Now we're down to the last 3 minutes of the show, and we got to do this again. By the way,
Oh yeah, gotta do it again. Got a lot more. Got a lot more.
But what projects are you working on right now, man?
So right now, I currently have a TV series that I'm helping produce called 6 Mile, based on 6 Mile Detroit. Basically the story, it's a drug lord. His brother gets murdered. What I'm saying? Now he's trying to uncover everything that's going on. And he wants a better life. So he's trying to find a way out of the game, and also, get things situated for his brother. My personal project that I'm working on now as well, I have one, a short called I that I'm working on that's about depression, and a guy's dealing with depression. He lost his wife, and basically, so I had a friend called Marcus. His name is Marcus Williams, that passed away, and his wife passed away, and he was never the same. He was depressed. I had another friend. I'm not gonna say their name, but he got to a situation where he killed himself and like his whole family, but it's based on mental health. So I worked in mental health for 10 years, or more years. So I was writing something based on that. So it's about that. And I also have my film Off the Mat, which right now we're seeking investors in product placement and different things like that for that. Now, it's a story of a guy who basically chose his dream over his love, and basically realized he made the wrong choice. You know what I'm saying? And throughout the process, she passes away, and he finds out he has a son. So him finding his son, he falls in love with his son, so he's able to open his heart again. So by the end of the movie, he's able to love and basically take a broken man and you make him whole. Is the name of the movie.
Well, you're working on a lot of different things. How can people get you, if they want to reach out to you, get in touch with you, get your work, watch your films, etc.? How can they do that?
Well, Brothers Toll More is now on Tubi. You may have to search it. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the search thing yet, but Brothers Toll More. You can hit me on Facebook. It's Victorious Films. Instagram is Victorious Films LLC. You can also email at info@victoriousfilmsllc.com. That's info@victoriousfilmsllc.com. Or you can Google me. All my contact stuff is on Google. So,
wow, hey Vic, we're out of time. But I just want to say one thing, bro. I really enjoyed this, and I would love to do it again if you got time.
I got a lot more.
If you got time in your schedule. And I tell you, the information that he put will also be on our social media platforms, and you can look him up, follow him. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another wonderful, outstanding, superb show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my viewers and our listeners that watching around the world. Just remember, it's your life, and you got to dream big, think big, and be big at everything that you do. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your life. We'll see you then.